Picture this. In the 1970s, fine dining nearly went the way of the dodo. We came dangerously close to losing the world of gourmet cuisine to the rise of TV dinners and fast food. Yes, our obsession with convenience almost wiped out the cherished traditions of white tablecloths and silver service. But how did we get so close to the edge? The 1970s were a time of seismic shifts, culturally, socially, and yes, culinarily. The decade was all about change, experimentation, and an increasing appetite for quick and easy solutions. As disco ruled the dance floors and bell-bottoms filled closets, our dining habits were also grooving to a different beat. Convenience foods, like the now legendary TV dinners, became a household staple, letting the average American enjoy a hot meal without ever leaving the couch. But as we fell in love with the idea of instant dinners, fine dining, a ritual once held in high regard, began to lose its sparkle. It was a cultural shift that was impossible to ignore. From the comfort of our living rooms to the fast food drive-thru, the way we ate was evolving fast. The ripple effects of this culinary shift were felt far and wide. Chefs and restaurant owners around the globe could sense the ground shifting beneath them. The post-war boom had ushered in an era of affluence, and with it, the golden age of fine dining in the 1950s and 60s. These were the days when dining out wasn't just about eating. It was an experience, often a luxurious one, steeped in tradition. Restaurants like Le Pavillon in New York and the French Laundry in California embodied this elegance and exclusivity, where every detail, from the crystal glassware to the perfectly seared filet mignon, was carefully curated. But as the 70s dawned, the pressure in the kitchen started to rise. The fast food phenomenon was exploding. McDonald's, Burger King, and countless others were opening new locations at an astonishing rate, serving up burgers and fries faster than you could say bon appetit. It was a time when America was embracing the idea of eating on the run. Thanks to advancements in food preservation and microwave technology, more people were choosing the convenience of a quick meal over the time-honored tradition of dining out. Frozen dinners, a novelty in the 50s, had become a fixture in American homes. Families found themselves gathered around the TV enjoying pre-packaged meals instead of a night out at a fine dining establishment. And the impact was devastating. Some high-end restaurants simply couldn't compete with the lure of quick, cheap meals and were forced to close their doors. The rise of the fast food industry coincided with a period of economic instability. Skyrocketing inflation and unemployment left many tightening their belts, both figuratively and literally. Dining out at a fancy restaurant became a luxury that fewer and fewer could afford, while a fast food burger became an affordable and filling alternative. This wasn't just a shift in the dining scene, it was a change in how people perceived food itself. The craftsmanship and artistry that went into haute cuisine were being overshadowed by the mass production and efficiency of fast food. Fine dining was on the ropes, and it seemed like the world was ready to trade foie gras for French fries. Hey there, fellow foodies! Did you know that 96.8% of our viewers are not subscribed? If you've enjoyed this journey into the world of dining through the decades, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our Worldeats community and never miss out on our culinary adventures. We've got a lot more delicious content coming your way, exploring luxury dining across the globe. So, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and let's continue this food journey together. Now, let's get back to the video. By the time the mid-70s rolled around, fine dining was teetering on the edge of a full-blown crisis. The appetite for fast, casual meals had surged, leaving many upscale restaurants struggling to stay afloat. The convenience of a Big Mac and fries, served up in mere minutes, was beginning to seem far more appealing than a multi-course meal that could take hours to savor. But this wasn't just about convenience. It reflected a deeper, more profound shift in how people viewed food. The traditionalists, Those who had long championed the art of a carefully prepared, multi-course meal were now up against a seemingly unstoppable force: the quick, easy, and cheap allure of fast food, along with a rapidly changing cultural landscape. The 1973 oil crisis had delivered a crushing blow, leading to economic downturns across the globe. People were looking to cut costs wherever possible, and dining out at a high-end restaurant was one of the first luxuries to go. Even those who could still afford fine dining found themselves less inclined to indulge, as the social climate shifted towards frugality and practicality. The image of luxury dining began to feel outdated, even out of touch, in a world that was increasingly focused on efficiency and getting more bang for the buck. Fine dining was becoming a relic of a bygone era, something that belonged to the wealthy elite, not the everyday person just trying to make ends meet. Figures like Julia Child and James Beard fought valiantly to keep the spirit of fine dining alive. Julia Child, with her popular PBS show The French Chef, continued to extol the joys of cooking and eating well, teaching Americans how to master the art of French cuisine in their own kitchens. James Beard, often dubbed the Dean of American Cookery, also played a crucial role in preserving the essence of fine dining through his cookbooks and public appearances. But despite their best efforts, the landscape was changing too quickly. Fast food chains were growing at an unprecedented rate, and the sheer convenience of a drive-through meal was hard to beat. The industry was at a critical juncture, one that left many wondering if fine dining could evolve, or if it was doomed to be swept away by the tide of change. The answer wasn't clear. Some believe that the golden age of gourmet experiences was over, replaced by a new era of fast, convenient, and affordable meals. Yet, even as the industry faced these existential threats, there were still those who clung to the belief that food could be both an art form and a source of deep pleasure. This crisis forced fine dining to confront its own identity, ultimately setting the stage for its dramatic reinvention in the years to come. The stakes were sky high, and the outcome would go on to shape the future of dining for decades. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, fine dining began to reinvent itself. The late 70s saw the rise of Nouvelle Cuisine, a culinary movement that offered a glimmer of hope. This new approach to cooking emphasized freshness, presentation, and lightness, a stark contrast to the heavy, rich dishes that had dominated menus for so long. But Nouvelle Cuisine was far more than just a change in the food itself. It was a revolution in the way food was prepared, served, and enjoyed. It moved away from the stuffy, opulent traditions of the past, instead embracing simplicity and letting the ingredients take center stage. Chefs like Paul Bocuse, Michel Guérard, and the Trois Gros brothers were at the forefront of this movement, bringing a new level of creativity and innovation to the kitchen. They introduced a lighter, more elegant style of cooking that relied on fresh, high-quality ingredients, often sourced locally. Gone were the thick, heavy sauces of old. In their place were delicate, flavorful accompaniments that complemented rather than overshadowed the main ingredients. Portions became smaller, but each plate was a masterpiece, designed to delight both the palate and the eyes. This wasn't just about catering to changing tastes. It was also a response to the growing awareness of health and wellness. People were starting to think more critically about what they were eating, and Nouvelle Cuisine was perfectly positioned to meet this new demand. At the same time, fine dining establishments began rethinking the entire dining experience. The rigid formality that had once defined luxury dining started to give way to a more relaxed, approachable atmosphere. Fine dining became less about the pomp and circumstance and more about the pure joy of eating. Restaurants started experimenting with their offerings, blending tradition with modern trends. Tasting menus, which allowed diners to sample a variety of dishes in one sitting, became increasingly popular, offering a more dynamic and engaging experience. Wine lists, once dominated by French labels, began to feature selections from around the world, reflecting the growing globalization of taste. The 1980s saw the resurgence of gourmet experiences, with a renewed focus on quality ingredients and innovative techniques. Chefs who had been trained in the classic ways were now embracing new ideas, blending the best of both worlds. Fine dining wasn't dead, it had been reborn with a fresh, modern twist that appealed to a new generation of diners. This transformation wasn't just about survival, it was about reinvention, proving that even in the face of adversity, fine dining could evolve and thrive. Today, the influence of Nouvelle cuisine can still be seen in the dishes served at the world's best restaurants, a testament to the resilience and creativity of the culinary arts. Jump to the present day, and fine dining is as much about the experience as it is about the food. The 1970s food revolution might have shaken the industry to its core, but it also paved the way for an era of innovation and creativity in the kitchen. The influence of those fast-paced, convenience-driven years still lingers, but fine dining has evolved, blending tradition with modern trends to create something truly special. We might have come dangerously close to losing it all, but in the end, the 1970s food revolution made fine dining stronger, more resilient, and more exciting than ever. So, what do you think? Did the 1970s food revolution help or hurt the world of fine dining? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more culinary history, check out our next video on how food trends have shaped the dining experience over the decades. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more mouth-watering content. And if you enjoyed this video, Dining Through the Decades, then this is the video you have to watch next.